Today we analyze the gold and silver surge in 2025, driven by banking shifts beyond inflation. Today we analyze the gold and silver surge in 2025, driven by banking shifts beyond inflation. I'm Alisha, your host. Joining me is economist Dr. Raj Mehta. Let's unpack Basel III's effects. Dr. Mehta, did Basel III classify gold as Tier 1 capital? That's a myth. Basel 3.1 tightened capital and liquidity standards for banks. It increased capital costs for holding or shorting commodities. Banks must secure stable funding for harder-to-finance assets via the Net Stable Funding Ratio (NSFR) and Liquidity Coverage Ratio (LCR). So no global Tier 1 upgrade for gold? Correct. Some regulators allow gold as collateral, but it's limited. Let's examine the impact on short positions. How did regulations affect traders shorting commodities? Two factors: increased market risk capital charges and higher margins. Silver margins rose from 11% to 15%, gold from 6% to 8%. In MCX, future margins are 20% for gold and 30% for silver, raising banks' regulatory capital for speculative shorts. Second, NSFR demands stable funding for physical inventories, raising shorting costs. So it became costly for banks to maintain paper shorts? Exactly. Men cut net short positions or sought better collateral, passing risks to hedge funds, increasing demand for physical metal. Have banks shifted from short to long? Generally, yes. But Basel didn't force bullion purchases. Shorting costs rose, leading banks to hold more physical assets for risk management. It seems banks are buying metal, but it's mostly risk adjustments. How did regions respond to banking changes? In the US, Basel's endgame began in July 2025, with banks adjusting models. The Fed hasn't increased gold reserves, but major banks are going long. In Europe, early EU rules prompted banks to reprice commodity desks, with Poland boosting gold reserves. The UK finalizes Basel 3.1, adjusting liquidity for metals. The RBI in India increases gold holdings as reserves. China selectively adds gold reserves. Japan and Australia maintain conservative buffers but hold US Treasury bonds. The Middle East and Africa show varied paces, with GCC banks moving faster. South American economies progress quickly compared to smaller markets. Overall, tighter capital and liquidity are leading to less leverage and conservative positions. How did that cause gold and silver prices to rise in 2025? Reduced short exposure limited market liquidity, widening bid-ask spreads and raising funding costs. Demand for physical collateral surged, creating upward price pressure. This rally stemmed from changing costs, not Basel mandates. Macro factors like inflation and BRICS currency shifts also accelerated the rally. Some claim Basel forced shorts to back with metal. That's incorrect. Basel doesn't require 100% physical backing, but raises unbacked costs. Regulators may impose stricter requirements, but it's not universal. To summarize, Basel 3.1 didn't make gold Tier 1 money. It increased costs for holding or shorting commodities, leading banks to reduce paper shorts and sometimes hold physical assets. This tightening has driven gold and silver prices upward in 2025. It's a regulatory adjustment enhancing an existing macro trend. Thank you, Dr. Mehta, and thank you for joining Around US Weekly. Basel III Endgame doesn't force banks to buy gold or silver. It raises costs in holding or shorting commodities, explaining the 2025 rally. Basel III doesn't ban commodity trading or mandate metal backing, but increases holding costs. As banks adjust, we see fewer unhedged shorts and a move towards physical positions, supporting higher prices. Please like, subscribe, and share Around US Weekly for more insights.